Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications, follow everywhere. Welcome back. It's been a while. We're grateful to be back. We're grateful you're back here with us. You're watching Sharp Edge News TV. And without any further ado, folks, brace yourself because it's time to welcome the man who wears two very impressive hats. Yes. One as the publisher and editor in chief of SharpEdgeNews.com, and the other as a high chief. Yes, you heard that right. He's not just cutting through the news like a hot knife through butter. You know what butter is, right? He's also holding it down as the high chief of Dokwetu of Aidi Ogbese in Akure North local government Ondo State. So whether he's ruling the newsroom or the kingdom, this man is always a sharp edge ahead. Give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ola. I want to thank you for being so committed, so steadfast, and making sure that we are always connecting with our uh, fans everywhere on the globe. And today is a special one. It is special because it's a Thanksgiving season, and personally, um, it is an opportunity for me not just to thank you, Ola, but to thank so many people who have been there for us in the last few weeks. You know what it means to have gone through the valley of the shadow of death. Yeah, we didn't have to fear evil, but evil was so palpable and hanging like some kind of gloomy um, situation over me in person. And as I talk to you, you can celebrate with me that I am a prostate cancer survivor. And in doing that, not just thanking God Almighty, and I do not care if I'm politically correct about that or not. And I have no apology. Yes, I thank God Almighty, but then let me also thank God Almighty for the wonders of medicine and science that I'm able to come back, be talking to you, is because God is tapping into some people's expertise, their brain, and knowledge to make sure that humanity pushes strongly against the scourge of all kinds of cancer, all kinds of cancer. So it's good to be back. It's good to be alive. And in that order, let me thank the Sharp Edge News family. Let me thank our friends and some corporate organizations, particularly the retailing giant, Walmart. Walmart did so much, not just extending to me a grant of $1,500 to make sure that I do not suffer in terms of um, being able to pay my utilities and bills. The Aetna health insurance company, they were there for me. Let me thank uh, my old boss, and who would always remember, I mean, who would always remain as my consistent Oga, my consistent boss, Mr. Gbenga Motosho, the current commissioner for information in Lagos State. He really acted big, not just making sure that he was financially supportive, checking on me, calling, making sure that I did not slip into the back of the great beyond. Let me thank uh, Dr. Uh, Elizabeth Olayinka Motayo. Let me thank Dr. Elizabeth Anyigo, formerly Mrs. Abitogun. Let me thank my son Oluwaseun Cornelius Abitogun. Let me thank the Ajibuwas. Uh, they did not only make sure that provisions were made. They visited with me while in intensive care unit at Kansas University Medical uh, Medical Center in Kansas City here. Let me thank the urologists. Let me thank the oncologists. Let me thank family medicine people, all at the KU uh, Medical in Kansas City here. Let me thank Taurid Alaba Abdurazak of SharpEdge News uh, Southwest Bureau in Ibadan. Let me thank Mr. Kayode Fashua, the managing director of the Hope newspaper in Akure. Let me thank the chief press secretary to the governor of Ondo State. The chief press secretary to the governor of Ondo State, uh, Ebenezer Adeniyo. He is doing so greatly. Let me thank the political editor of the Nation newspaper, Mr. Emmanuel Oladisu, and uh, Ms. Bola Ogunyemi of Moshood Kashimawo Olawale uh, Polytechnic in Ibadan. Let me thank Ms. Ego Kalu of the Interior Ministry in Abuja. Let me thank the Comptroller General of Nigeria Correctional Service himself. So many people, all of you, you are the heroes of this moment. But let me thank the man who wears the big hat as the heir to the place of my father in the Cornelius Abitogun family, Elder Lawrence Abitogun, his wife, Mrs. Rhoda Abitogun, Shola Abitogun, Oyinlade Oladipo Abitogun, Funmi Oladipo Abitogun, and Mrs. Victoria Abitogun. So many people. And now to my elder sister, Mrs. Ebun Fashemore. Let me thank Bimpe Balogun, or Bimpe Abitogun Balogun. Let me thank Ayodeji Rex Abitogun. So many people from all over the world. Like I told you, it is a moment for me to, say thank you. And I know there is still much ahead for me, that the good Lord has steadied all hands to make sure that I do not die prematurely. It means there is a purpose to be fulfilled, and we live for that moment, and we are waiting for the wonders. And let me thank Ms. Angie of Walmart, voluntary time to take me for some of my post-operation, post-surgery appointment, and so many people that I would always mention from time to time in the course of time. But it's good to be back. It's good to be alive. And I am in high spirits, and we'll continue to till until we are ripe enough, because nobody lives here forever. But whatever we can do to make sure that we continue to exist, to be, is what we got to do. And it's time for us as people of African descent and everybody all over the world, in the age of enlightenment, in the age of postmodernism, to continue to embrace superstitious beliefs about things that is akin to living in that age of medieval civilization. It's not going to help anybody. And for crooks and all kinds of fraudsters out there who are always hawking snake oil and all kinds of remedy for what they know next to nothing about, I think it's time to make sure that we do not perpetuate kinds of extermination, kinds of avoidable nihilism against each other. You don't know something, you have no clue about something, don't put your mouth in it as if you know all. You know, it can be very annoying, and then to push superstition as if that triumphs over or trumps over science, reasoning, logic, and medicine, it's no. So it's good to be back. And I thank God. I thank all of you.
All right. I want to say one more time, congratulations to you. Wow.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Wow.
And we as men, because everybody talks about all forms of cancer affecting women folk and all whatnot, cervical cancer, breast cancer, all kinds. People hardly want to talk about prostate cancer. No, we must talk about it. And there will be a big topic around that in the future. Good to have survived it. Thank you, Ola.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Congratulations again. Well, we're happy that you're back. All right. So now let's get back to we have of course, as usual, we have a good show lined up for you all today. Just do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Check out the library. We've been here for a while. Some of you might be discovering us for the first time, which is fine. But you're watching Sharp Edge
And
News.
Ola, please,
Yes.
before we go too far, let me
Mhm.
mention some particular gentlemen.
Right.
Jackson Ude of Point Blank News. Let me thank Mr. Femi Shone, a former spokesperson of NNPC Limited. Mr. Akinride Fagbamigbe in Canada. All these people have been so wonderful, making sure that funds rolled in, making sure that my utilities and my co-pay in terms of
Insurance.
paying for my treatment, insurance and all that everything was mitigated. And the response has been so awesome and phenomenal. Sorry about that. I just don't want to miss anybody out. And the list is long. We would
This
always
is long.
revisit this. Yeah, the
Can
list
only
is long.
imagine.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
All
much.
right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to go right straight into the show. We've got a few stories ready lined up for you today. All right. So please stay tuned and we will be right back. All right. Kwara church attacks shock Nigeria. This happened a few days ago, but we're just catching up. And, I'm sure Chief has his commentary on this issue, but there's been an update. There's been an update that I'm going to read real quick, you know. But there's a lot of things going on in Nigeria at first. Some few weeks ago, there might have been some news that many people would consider to be threats coming from the president of United States of America. But then what happened a few days later, or maybe a few weeks later, then we had like a series of different craziness attacks, if you will, in different parts of maybe we should call it northern western side of Nigeria, maybe Midwest of Nigeria. And but as of today, we've seen some news. There's been an update. I think they released.
Middle belt and north central Nigeria. If you're talking of Midwest of Nigeria, you'll be talking
Yeah.
of Old Bendel, that is the current Edo and the Delta State. That's Midwest. So we're talking of north central state of Kwara and the middle belt. Continue, please.
Yes, precisely. Thank you for that. All right. So, but today, as of today, we've seen some news in follow up to that because I heard there was some meetings that were going on in Nigeria. But as of today, I want you to speak to it. But this is the update from today, according to Tribune Online, Nigeria.com. It says Nigeria to become center of excellence for counter-terrorism by 2030. NSA Ribadu. It says the National Security Advisor Malam Ribadu on Monday expressed optimism that Nigeria would not only be safer and more secure by 2030, but would stand proudly as a recognized regional center of excellence for counterterrorism and a beacon of resilience across the African continent. Malam Ribadu, who was represented by the National Coordinator, National Counterterrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka, gave the assurance while speaking in Abuja at the launch of the National Counterterrorism Center's Strategic Plan 2025 to 2030. He pointed out the launch marked the unveiling of a major policy document and else the beginning of a new chapter of Nigeria's effort to counter terrorism and to strengthen the nation prevention and countering of violent extremism intervention. Okay, so that's the news. But let me say this, that I want you to speak to this because I really want to get your insights on this. A few days ago, President Bola Tinubu asked his Minister for Defense to relocate to Kebbi State. At that time, they went on to basically highlight some of his accolades, or quote unquote accolades, from fighting terrorism in Kebbi. They listed out some stuff. So that was quite interesting to look at because I thought it
You
was a
want to
joke.
mention the name of this particular minister?
Do you have the name? I don't. I don't recall the name.
I do not have it offhand, but it's a known
I'll,
quantity.
I'll pull it up. Minister of Defense. So now I thought that was a joke. But then today they are coming out with a projection. I don't know if I should call this a projection, but I have a question. Why did they have to wait until one what they consider to be inaccurate statement coming from Donald Trump? They called it Donald Trump saying there's genocide of Christians in Nigeria. Why did they have to wait until that? Why did they have to wait till there's a follow-up of attacks happening in Niger State, in Eruku, right? In Kwara, Eruku in Kwara,
Eruku in Ekiti, local government of Kwara State.
right? Why did they have to wait till? And how can we trust them right now? Then I'll have you take it away. So I think his name is Muhammadu Badaru Abubakar, sir. He used to be
Good.
governor of Jigawa State.
And now Minister of State or substantive Minister of Defense.
Now he's the minister is leading the Ministry of Defense and
Good.
overseeing the branches of Nigerian Armed Forces.
Yeah, so it's because I do not want any mix-up or ambiguity, which is why I said we should be specific about his name, his office. Now, you were talking of Donald Trump, the whatever. You described it as maybe incorrect information or what have you.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people say that. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody can. Everybody can accuse President Donald Trump of so many things, but he really nailed it concerning the characterization of whatever or some of whatever has been going on in Nigeria as Christian genocide or genocide against Christians. Number one, we should not cloak it. We should not disguise it. We should not minimize the seriousness of the various attacks or set of pogroms that were deliberate, targeted, and aimed at some Christian strongholds in some parts of Nigeria. That is a settled fact. But there are situations in which some people too, who are not Christians, who are Muslims or who are not Muslims, traditional worshippers, have there been situations in which they too have been victimized? Yes, indeed, there are such situations. And let us zero in on this projection that 2030 will be the year of Amanda, the year of Kumbaya, when Nigeria would be so active about containing insurgency and terrorism. Why don't we even make it a commitment that right from today, Nigeria would have zero tolerance against all kinds of avoidable bloodshed, violence, and targeted killings, kidnappings, banditry, and what have you. That would have been a more appropriate statement, something more affirmative than for anybody to want us to wallow in the luxury of some future projection 5 years or 5 years ahead before Nigeria can say, okay, we finally got it. If our audience, anybody, that really cares, we want to check our digital footprint. You remember when there was a coup d'etat in Niger Republic and some people were really ganging up and massing up saying Americans have been chased out of Niger, the French have been chased out, and then even when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was making efforts to rally the entire West African sub-region, ECOWAS, against making that coup unpopular and warning of a dire consequence against the coup makers. You saw the way certain elements up north were really trying to shame America, the way they were trying to make it look like, oh, what had happened in Niger should be celebrated. I predicted upon that occasion because everybody thought America should be denied some, what's it called? Some place in Africa in terms of setting up some military base. And I said, for me, it will be necessary to have America come into Nigeria. And I predicted upon that occasion that the moment America will do that, it will be, business would be over for all kinds of crisis merchants all over Nigeria. And with the sneezing, when America sneezes, the rest of the world, to some extent, would want to catch cold. They would firm up, they would brace up. So the moment Donald Trump sneezed, not just roaring and talking in certain terms the other day, you saw all kinds of interest, all kinds of vested, people with vested mentality shaping up and running helter-skelter. And I do not really want to encourage Donald Trump to let go. He should try to pull the rein further concerning this. Not just about complaining about targeted killings of Christians or Christian genocide against all kinds of irresponsible and lackadaisical attitude against all forms of violent crimes in Nigeria. And I still insist, if America would want to establish a military base in Nigeria, so be it. And it will be, game over for everybody that is benefiting from the bloodletting that is all over Nigeria at the moment. So that said, of course, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu himself, who was represented by a proxy at that counterterrorism forum that you paraphrased, presently, we do not know if he has returned to Nigeria, but he is supposed to be the presidential national security advisor, the national security advisor to the president of Nigeria. But he came a few days back with Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, and the Inspector General of Nigeria Police, and so on. That delegation, for me, the composition is a misnomer. I would expect the Nigerian Foreign Affairs Minister himself to be at the head of the delegation. But, of course, the Nigerian Minister of Information, not Minister of Information, the Nigerian Minister of Foreign Affairs had been caught in a kind of misadventure on Morgan Pierre's show on BBC, where he could not even really articulate the views and the position of the Nigerian government properly. So we are looking at a situation in which the security architecture of Nigeria will be rejuvenated. It is true that Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, is reconfiguring the composition of the security apparatus of the country, but more has to be done. And it is not just something that would be a matter of body language. It must be backed by concrete action, and they're making sure that Nigeria becomes a beehive of intelligence, making sure that people are seeing things, they are talking about what they are seeing, and they are reporting to people who will not snitch on the system itself. Because some of us who have actively investigated all these kinds of intractable insurgency in Nigeria, the terrorism, banditry, one thing we find out is that people at some point felt it was personal for them to defend certain interests. Certain Nigerian soldiers will be deployed to the theater of action, and then they will be saying it is haram, that it is sacrilegious, it will be sacrilegious for them, that it is forbidden for them to take the military gun and aim it at Boko Haram, who are supposed to be fellow Muslim faithfuls. Arrant nonsense. These are people who would shoot first at that Muslim Nigerian soldier before thinking of whatever is binding them together. And you know, wherever a society is sold out to fanatical religious beliefs, that society, only God knows what can save it. It is always good to be committed to liberal ideology, to be secular and broad-minded in relating with fellow human beings, understanding that this is business of humanity, rather than waxing celestial, waxing ecclesiastical, and then doing what is wrong. Some promise of some hereafter that nobody is even too sure of at times, and then we want to vitiate, we want to really be wicked to some extreme against our fellow human being. If all these things are properly aggregated, and we know that a break in the chain of our relationship as fellow compatriots is going to really upset the entire landscape like we are witnessing now. I mean, it was supposed to be some Boko Haram thing initially, but look at the cataclysm following all that. So much so that Nigeria faces issues of food insecurity, because nobody can even venture into the fields, into the farms anymore. Like, I mean, these were things we did. I mean, with without fear in our younger days. I wonder if anybody would be able to ride on a bicycle or engage on a trek between Usho and Ayede Ogbese in Ondo State today. Just a distance of maybe 3.5 kilometers to 4 kilometers. It used to be fun for us to ride bicycle all the way from Ayede Ogbese to Obaile, wherever in those days. You do that today, it may be at your own risk, at your own peril.
Wow.
The entire place is no longer safe as it used to be. Yes. Even, I mean, all those years you were back in Nigeria after you were born in the United States, it used to be fun for us. Your uncle, there were times I would wake up early in the morning in Ayede Ogbese. In the mid-80s, would ride with glee, with pleasure on my bicycle to go and pick Ayo, who probably had been spending weekend holidays at our country home in Usho. If anybody did that today, no, you may not guarantee that the person will safely return home. So why is it that bad in a place where everybody, I mean, used to really celebrate, used to have the fun of interactions between all kinds of people? You saw the Fulani herdsmen in those days. You want to be singing and admiring their heads of cattle. Is it like that anymore? No. So these are the things that the government of Nigeria must strive to bring back, instead of being in denial and then heaping all kinds of blames on Donald Trump. I have had the Nobel laureate, our well-cherished Professor Wole Soyinka, trying to fire diatribes at Mr. Donald Trump. But Soyinka himself has forgotten that in that same country, when he was rewarded with the Nobel Prize in 1986, the Islamic the people who started all these killings, who started all this intolerance in Nigeria, had to respond by giving some Islamic some innocuous award to Sheikh Gumi, the father of this same terrorism apologist. This Gumi this Gumi is a retired soldier. A retired soldier doing all that this Sheikh Gumi is doing all over Nigeria. Isn't that a shame? Whether he's still in the uniform or he no longer wears the uniform.
Sorry, Sheikh Gumi is a retired soldier.
He is. He's a retired soldier. But his father was one of those people who brought to Nigeria some crazy, extreme Wahhabism form of Islam. They were the people who pressurized Nigeria to introduce Sharia code in some states. And these things did not. I mean, there were times Professor Wole Soyinka himself had lampooned the Mandara and all those these Almajiri kind of mentality and their schools. So just because it is Donald Trump that is speaking against what is going on in Nigeria today, nobody wants to hear the voice of Donald Trump. I too am not his big fan, but if he is correct on certain things, let us rally support for him and then make sure that Nigeria is rent-free from the gridlock of these killer people who are all over the place. And finally, on this issue, what I am advocating here and what every reasonable person must embrace is the need for collaboration between Nigeria and the United States of America. I dare say, and let me emphasize, if United States put the boot on the ground in Nigeria today, honestly, it is all over. It is over for the people who are benefiting from this. The unaccountable soldiers, generals, can you imagine? Yes, sir.
Who else is it over for? I know it will be over for these people, the sponsors.
It would also be over for people who are entrenched inside government, people who are always crowing and betraying intelligence and trading off critical, critical intelligence in terms of reining in all these violent characters. Yes, it will be over for them.
We're going to get a chance. We're going to get a chance to talk more about this, but I have a very important question for you. Then I'll move to the next segment, which is about this collaboration, this purported collaboration with the United States, right? Beyond immediate corporates, bandits, militants, what are the key social, economic, and maybe governance failures, right, that created the environment for this type of activities? I mean, we've watched this grow significantly over the past 2 decades. What are these key factors?
Well, the key factors are there. Socially first, when it was becoming unpopular all over the world to make a public show of executions, Nigeria was encouraging that culture of a Barbie show, firing squad, and death penalty and all that. Things that cheapen the essence of living, of life itself. That should have been a no-no, because they were making a public spectacle of executions, public executions, in order to discourage violent crimes and armed robbery and things like that. But that in itself gave a reverse, result, in that life became so casual. And then you even look at the way animals are killed at abattoirs, the way anybody can just, in the name of doing certain rituals and what have you, the way people can handle things with life. Things are not so well protected. I'm talking of the psychology of the violence that has enveloped Nigeria today. I mean, it's so casual in civilized societies. I'm sure there are grown-ups who are probably up to 25, 40 years of age that has not even witnessed the process of killing animals in some countries like the United States and elsewhere. It is always a sacred thing, but that is so casual in Nigeria to the extent that more than 100,000 people can line up at the Barbie. It used to be called Barbie show and what have you in those days, to witness public execution by firing squad. That in itself was an unconscious and sometimes deliberate attempt to cheapen life, to make it, it does not matter how people get killed, culture of killing. It was so wanton all over the place. It's part of it, the psychology of it. And another thing that is aiding all this socially, like you asked, do you realize today that all kinds of all kinds of narcotics, all kinds of hard drugs all over Nigeria, Canadian Loud, Scoochie, what you call it, Colorado, marijuana itself, that should have been cultivated for medical use and what have you. You find people abusing,
Used for
consuming,
recreational.
abusing all these things. It encourages it. And when a Boko Haram zealot or Boko Haram killer is stoned on cocaine, heroin, and any kind of what's it called? Hard drug. What do you think would happen? I mean, they are numb in their brain, they are numbed all over their body, and life becomes so meaningless to them. And then they can be so casual the way they snuff life out of people. And then one of the other biggest reasons why all these things are so pervasive in Nigeria, because of fraud and corruption itself.
Across the board.
Triggering, yes, across the board. Triggering unemployment, making sure people are unaccountable, and you even see the brigandage of a serving minister at times. I mean, why would anybody be behaving like that minister who has no shame, irresponsible most times, and will violently want to assert himself, not allowing judiciary to play the role? He is always usually the accuser. He is the one that will prosecute, and he is the one that will execute. Who does that other than a country where there is rule of violent people instead of rule of law? So all these things interplaying, they are the things fostering a culture of violence, banditry, terrorism, and kidnapping, all kinds of crimes in Nigeria. That is the way I look at it. So it's a whole cycle that is so virtuous, but can there be a pushback about it? Sure. And a city government that is encouraging everybody to decamp into it instead of having competition of ideas and thoughts and philosophies. What do you think they will get? So the earlier the better for Nigeria to get it right, and then the whole place can be saner. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Air Av Bear Justice in the chat. Please feel free to join the conversation in the chat. You're welcome. You're welcome. We're going to move on to some other stories around the world, and we'll be right back. All right. So, in continuation of this crisis that's going on in Nigeria, we're going to cover another story here. According to Vanguard is reporting that there's some sort of collaboration coming up between the U.S. after all the past few weeks. There's been quite a few statements from Donald Trump. But I'm just going to read this and then we'll talk about it. It says the Nigerian government and the United States have agreed on some areas they need collaboration to tackle the worsening security situation in the country. The presidency has said. Hold on 1 second. All right. So it says the agreement includes the immediate implementation of a non-binding cooperation framework and establishment of a joint working group to ensure a unified and coordinated approach to the agreed areas of cooperation. The presidency, in a statement issued by Special Advisor of the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, said the United States expressed its willingness to extend complementary support, including humanitarian assistance to affected population in the Middle Belt, and technical support to strengthen early warning mechanisms. The statement explained that discussions and engagements held last week between a high-level Nigerian delegation and U.S. officials will help strengthen security partnerships between the two countries and open new avenues for cooperation to protect Nigerian citizens. According to the statement, the delegation led by the National Security Advisor, NSA, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, met with senior officials across the U.S. Congress, the White House Faith Office, the State Department, the National Security Council, and the Department of War It said, in all engagement in Washington, D.C., the Nigerian delegation refuted allegations of genocide in Nigeria, emphasizing that violent attacks affect families and communities across religious, and ethnic lines. Now, the delegation strongly rejected wrongful framing of the situation, saying such would only divide Nigerians and distort the realities all on the ground. Following these engagements, the United States government affirmed its readiness to deepen security cooperation with Nigeria. This includes enhanced intelligence support and an expedited processing of defense equipment requests and the potential provision of excess defense articles subject to availability. To reinforce ongoing operations against terrorists and violent extremist groups. The United States also expressed its willingness to extend complementary support, including humanitarian assistance to affected populations in the Middle Belt and technical support to strengthen early warnings. Both countries agreed to implement immediately a non-binding cooperation. Okay, so looks like we're repeating that. So now I have a question for you, sir.
Yes.
Okay. After reading that, honestly, I felt like it was word salad.
Mhm.
I felt like we've been there, done that, seen
Before.
that. It's just
Mhm.
like Oyedepo praying yesterday. Again, people are tired. Okay.
Mhm.
If the current security crisis is fundamentally a governance and economic failure, this is a follow-up to the last question I asked you. What specifically can ordinary Nigerians, how are they participating in this, if any at all? And then, of course, the diaspora, because we cannot remove ourselves. What can they do to foster resilience? And even, honestly, I don't know if resilience I'm looking to ask here, because I think resilience, asking for people for resilience at this point might be even insensitive after almost 4 decades of looking at the situation deteriorate over time. What can ordinary Nigerians, including diaspora, do, sir? And then you can take it away, sir.
Thank you very much. Number one, you said that statement issued by Mr. Bayo Nanuga appeared like a salad of words or something.
Yeah, word salad.
Indeed, yeah, word salad. Yes, salad of words or word salad. Well, I can agree any less with your opinion on that, because over time, Nigerian officials, right from the president, will go to some places. Oh, this happened in Dubai. That one happened in Riyadh or Saudi Arabia. And then at the end of the day, you find the people hosting them to some of those international fora issuing statements debunking the viewpoint of Nigerian officials. Is that going to be the situation in this instance? I'm not concluding, because Bayo Noniga, as a senior journalist, well respected for that matter, although now we have our doubts, because he is a strongly opinionated ideologue of the government in which he serves, and you really cannot blame him for that. The point I'm making is that we would also want to see the position or a statement coming from the congressional committee that hosted that Nigerian team while in the United States here. And then we need to also monitor the position of the United States government. And really, that position is not far removed from what President Donald Trump was hinting on when he raised the alarm about Christian genocide in Nigeria. And the only thing there was that he was going to, describe Nigeria in certain unacceptable terms. Like a stroke of brush to just make Nigeria look like a disgraced enclave and something like that. Very, very unacceptable. So going forward, you were asking what can Nigerians do in person, and then the role of Nigerians in the diaspora. You remember during some of our past discussions, I mentioned the relevance of diasporal communities. Vis-a-vis, what's it called? The homeland or people on the African continent. And I was borrowing from the example of the creation of a state of Israel. You know, people like nuclear scientists, the well-known physicist, Albert Einstein, all of them in the diaspora were involved in the Jewish cause, the push back, the push against Holocaust and what have you, which was why when Israel took off as a recognized nation, the creation of the United Nations, Albert Einstein was the country's original honorary president, the first president of that country in honorary capacity. He never visited Israel, but concerning leverage in the diaspora, he was really in the forefront. And that is one thing I encourage everybody who is a Nigerian in the diaspora to do. But of course, you know, some Nigerians, especially the people who call themselves the NIDO, Nigeria in Diaspora Organization, and the divisive tendency of the people at the Diaspora Commission under Abike Dabiri in Nigeria, the way they do their things, instead of including every stakeholder, making sure that every Nigerian is involved, creating very strong lobby. Everywhere you find Nigerians, it is always something that will be done with the consciousness of some people seeing themselves as belonging in a special class. Instead of running it as an inclusive organization, all encompassing, everybody on board. No, it has to be run as as something that signifies status for some people. Some people want to really see themselves as being privileged. And when it comes to the fact of protecting Nigeria critical assets overseas, you don't find some of these super celebrities that they parade around most times. And specifically, I'm mentioning when people like Ugoye in the past were selling Nigerian property in in Washington, D.C., Nigerian house for $25 million. Somebody who was a personal lawyer to the then head of state, Abubakar Salami, now turning himself to Nigerian government and pocketing proceeds of such sales. Although Naido did not know people like me, or Moyele Showore, or Jackson, or Femi Shoneye, we were the ones who were in the lead, in the forefront of challenging that and exposing such fraud and corruption. Ordinary Nigerians like us. And at the end of the day, Nigeria was able to get justice. Ugoye was debarred from practicing as a lawyer in DC and Maryland. So unless you want to see everybody as relevant, of course, you would maintain a divided front, and that is going to be counterproductive. What else can we do back in Nigeria there? Honestly, people don't like the idea, but General Theophilus Danjuma first gave vent to that idea. The government that it's always incompetent and unavailable to defend every citizen and properties in the country should not also hold people back from being able to acquire the means of defending themselves. You have heard of a situation of a Christian individual up north who was protecting himself against a killer Fulani terrorist. At the end of the day, he gained the upper hand, was able to use his machete to on live that a Fulani attacker. At the end of the day, the matter went to court for defending himself and then for somebody getting killed in the process as a result of self-defense. The man is on death row today. Went through all the stages of trial. High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, affirming that the guy must be executed. For doing what? These are the manifestations of incongruities in the system, inconsistencies in the system that everybody is questioning. If the government cannot defend Nigerian citizens, they should not take the right, they should not deprive Nigerians of the right to self-defense. So these are some of the things that must be done. However, I will still give a caveat. Yes, there is a place for self-defense. One thing I've tested, when a Fulani young killer came after my farm manager in Ayediogbe, almost killed her. What we did was to apprehend him, got the police to charge him for attempted murder. And that matter is still before the High Court in Ondo State in Nigeria today. And for even daring to support and defend my farm manager, I've had some dirty-minded perverts say, why are you backing your farm manager? Why are you defending her? There must be some amoral relationship between you and her. I said, well, it is typical of people like this because they don't even have enough spine. When people violate you, when you now say you are standing up for your right, blackmail would always come. But who cares about such blackmail? Who cares? I mean, who cares about such blackmail? Let even that farm manager be involved in anything with me, but God forbid, but let it even be like that. So long the person is over 18 years of age. Who cares? But what we are talking of here is the fact that Nigerians must be allowed not just the right to self-defense, they must also be given justice when they approach the law court. In this case, against attempted murder and violent characters. These are the things that should be in the system to help everybody so that Nigeria can successfully birth as a worthy and responsible member of Committee of Nations.
Right on. Right on. Thank you so much for that. Shout out to Natu. Natu is in the chat. Good to see you. Chat to say welcome back.
Thank you, Natu. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. So we're going to move on to other stories. Again, join the conversations. We'd like to know your thoughts around these topics, but we're going to lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, but sorry, Ola, one more point. When America collaborates with Nigeria, the snitches within the Nigerian system should understand that America does not joke. And whatever is going to lead to compromise in the chain of deployment or command or engagement or what have you, America has zero tolerance for that. So if, going forward, if the recommendation of the Congressional Committee, whatever, is on the table, when it gets to President Donald Trump, if as part of that collaboration, there will be technical support, personnel support, deployment in terms of all kinds of sophisticated equipment and the tracking devices, Nigeria should be prepared to flush out the Judas Iscariot within their ranks. The traitors within, because America does not joke. And America places value on every citizen and military personnel. This is one thing that is so casual with Nigeria. The attitude has to be, has to change. If Nigeria must be taken serious as a modern country that is aspiring towards leadership in Africa, Nigeria must learn to know that the life of every citizen counts. And this is a nonsense they do with with arsenals and weapons bought with taxpayers' money, with the commonwealth of the people, cannot be used against people who protest genuinely for enthronement of democracy, like we witnessed during the NSAS thing. And then the other day when she would led some people to demand the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the way the police was, the police people were targeted, directly shooting, what do you call it? Chemical arsenal, known otherwise as tear gas and what have you, where they were shooting it straight at Nigerian citizens. That is shameful and unacceptable. For Nigeria to enjoy the cooperation, the collaboration of civilized nations of the world, things like that must be addressed. Otherwise, there will be people within the American system demanding immediate stop to whatever backing the American system wants to give to Nigeria. If you must use such collaborations and support, cooperations to want to denigrate and humiliate your citizens and even suppress their right to protest. I've never witnessed such a thing anywhere. You want democracy, you don't want the rights of the citizens to protest. That is no. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, quick, let me read this comment out real quick before we move on. We run out of time, but we're going to cover that last story. The leaders, according to Area Justice, sorry for mispronouncing your name, said the leaders have turned off the country to another something. And then Make Way Limited says Shore is representing no one. All right, that's a good one. That's an opinion. Let's move on. We have another story around the world to cover. We'll be right back. All right, so what you're watching is basically news broke today that Atiku officially joins ADC, registers with party in Adamawa. And I'm going to read straight from Punch Nigeria. It says former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has officially registered as a member of the African Democratic Congress in Adamawa State, signaling a major development in Nigeria's opposition politics ahead of the 2027 general election. The registration took place on Monday following Atiku's announcement to ADC supporters and stakeholders in Adamawa over the weekend. Abdul Rashid, an aide to the former vice president, had confirmed the development in a statement obtained by Punch Online. Video and photos from the event showed Atiku's convoy arriving in the town to the cheers of supporters who beat drums, sang, and carried placards with his image. And hold on a second. Sorry. Atiku waved and greeted well-wishers from his vehicle as he received his ADC membership card. In a brief X, formerly Twitter post on his handle shortly after his registration, Atiku wrote, "It's official." This move formalizes Atiku's association with the coalition party, which he had previously endorsed in July as a platform for opposition figures, including Peter Obi, to challenge President Bola Tinubu in 2027. Until now, Atiku and other opposition leaders had delayed their formal registration with the ADC. The former vice president's registration is expected to strengthen the party's profile and consolidate the opposition ahead of the next general election. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked you before we went live. Is Atiku Abubakar still trying to become the president?
Well, hard to say if that is a consuming passion, mission, vision at the moment, unless it comes out to say that. But we must give one thing to Atiku Abubakar. He's one of the few standing consummate politicians from northern Nigeria at the moment. He's been through thick and thin, and he's still here. Of course, to to understand the phenomenon called Atiku Abubakar, you saw earlier tonight the former APC national chairman and two-time governor of Edo State, and now a sitting senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Adams Aliyu Oshiomhole, coming out, steaming on Seun Okinbaloye's program to want to cut Atiku Abubakar to size. If somebody is not important, if somebody is not strong politically, you don't find the ruling party of any country coming out with some of his, what's it called? Razor sharp tongues coming at Atiku the way Adams Oshiomhole did tonight. And you have also seen through other APC sympathetic platforms the way people were charging at him and all that. So to answer your question, if there is no fire, there will be no smoke. The fact that wherever Atiku moves or whatever he does, some people are always jittery in Nigeria. Some people are always fast to react and question every move he makes. Shows you that there still may be something locking in his lock, something waiting to be really given to Nigerians in terms of promise of politics, whether for good or for bad. But the article I'm seeing, I do not know if he is still able to keep intact his old political loyalist. I do not know. But I also know that significantly, since they pulled out of the opposition, the leading opposition, or let's say hitherto leading opposition party, People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, PDP, recently, you see the way the party has been carrying on. Even when he is no longer there, he continues to be the nightmare for people like Nyesom Wike, the Federal Capital Territory Minister. So whether in or out of a PDP, whether in or out of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC in Nigeria, wherever Atiku goes, surely he is like the knight in the shining armor for so many people, and then he becomes a major barometer for trying to gauge wherever the wind of fortune or misfortune will blow within the Nigerian system. But the fact that he has picked the membership card of ADC today, what does that portend? It only puts all of us on the watch that we should be on the lookout for the way things will shape up from now till the 2027 general election. But at least Nigerians are reaping something worthy at the moment. You know,
what is that?
The way things got hyper few weeks back concerning politics of 2027. Okay. But with the coming of Donald Trump saying, oh, no, there is this irresponsible lethargy on the part of Nigerian government as to violence all over the place. All that is now receding to the background. But we know it's only a matter of time. Things will spike again, things will pick up again, and then we will know whether people like Atiku can really swing things. But I doubt personally. You know why? The personal stake of Nigerians, their knack, this what's it called? this is a tendency to want to engage in ballot trading of mandates, demonetized electoral process that is so overwhelming that the people will be facing so much hunger. There will be so much economic despondency all over the place, and then the people will complain for very long period of time, but let the election come. Just give them 2,500
4K.
naira, bowl of rice, not even a bowl of amala and ewedu, just anything.
But that's what poverty does, and maybe more so, that's what a systemic failure. That's what it does.
Yeah, the systemic weaponization of hunger, the systemic weaponization of deprivation, the systemic weaponization of instrument of coercion, force, submission, and all kinds of stuff. This is what you get. So the dynamics may not rest with political heavyweights, bigwigs like Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, and
who is also running, right, in ADC. Did he register yet?
We don't know if he has registered, but he is a foremost player within that fold, and so many other people. Yeah, but in case PDP folds up, El-Rufai is there, but El-Rufai is going to be a liability. I do not really want to see the face of El-Rufai anywhere. I think El-Rufai should just kiss is a political. The twilight of
political at least life. For now, because in Nigeria anything can happen. We know
anything can happen, but El-Rufai is heavily dented. Of course, you remember why he couldn't scale the hurdle of Senate screening to become a minister. He is a major security threat to that country. And if anybody is going to be tried, like they were so excited about trying Nnamdi Kanu, if anybody is going to be tried about the spike in this terrorism conundrum in Nigeria, El-Rufai should occupy a frontline spot amongst suspected sponsors of culture of violence in that country. And I mean every word of it. So I do not really see El-Rufai as a strong player politically. If he is in the ADC, wherever he goes, it's just going to be a bad asset. It's going to be a liability on the system. But there are more, polished individuals that can really show up within the opposition fold, and they still do credit to the.
Let's finish on a light note. I have 2 questions about 2 trending news over the past few days. Just give me like a very, very shocky brief answer on what you thought about it. Nedu Woko and Regina, your thoughts?
Well, I do not see Nedu Woko. What did they call Chinedu Woko that funky size his name to Ned? It's like somebody whose father named Ajayi slacked away the I and called himself Ajay. Calls himself Ajay. Yeah, it's really so. Nedu Woko, his family, so many people, and I am big about the rights of women, and I do not like it when people take undue advantage of our women, our ladies, the way he has done. He's not a popular person, and I see him as highly irresponsible and manipulative. The way he's been championing this unusual state creation of a thing, I look at it as one of the 419 politics of the time in which we live as Nigerians. So, Nedu Woko, thumbs down.
Okay, one last one. The whole Fayose Oluwayose drama in the past week. Did you pay attention?
Is he calling himself Oluwayose now or Fayose? What is wrong with Fayose?
The sister said, the sister and the mother said it exactly that way. They said, this is from the family of Fayose Oluwayose. As you know, the brother was dragging him. The sister in London dragged him. The mother came out crying and said, don't look at me like this. And Obasanjo exactly.
Obasanjo used the 65th birthday anniversary or celebration to really shape him up. Well, give and take. Fayose is a phenomenon in Ekiti state politics, but honestly, he has to be a true person at times. He behaves somehow. He's older than me. I do not want to copy anything from the page of his public conduct by insulting him as an elder. But I think he needs to learn how to really be decorous. He needs to learn how to respect elders, and he needs to learn how to be a true African, indeed a true Yoruba person. And Omoluabi, he is a dried fish now. To want to fold him or bend him, you may break him. Let him enjoy the twilight of his life, and wish him good luck.
Okay. All right. Let's leave it at that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Everybody that stopped by, thank you. We're going to keep it simple. We'll be back next week, but we might drop videos. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you join the conversation. A quick shout out to If Bear Justice. Says he is too old to become the president again. This person is talking about Atiku. Make Way Limited. I'm just assuming it's Make Way. Sorry. I said Atiku is a joker. He has nothing to offer. Part of the Fulani Janja weed. And Obaso just said so. He said this guy should be in jail. A known thief.
Well, we need to also be mindful of how we characterize all these our political gladiators. When people have different views in politics, anything can be said about each other. I think it may not be about the age of Atiku Abubakar. The issue may be the age of his ideas. So if he has ideas that will work for the times, why not? But if his ideas are really antediluvian, that is something meant for the age of Noah and the flood, well, the world really wants to move on and be progressively minded. So that said, thank you all.
Thank you very
thanks
much
for spreading our gospel. Do not forget to subscribe. Press our notification button, like us, share us, and please let us all grow together. God bless. Again, I thank all of you standing by me. Let me also acknowledge Brother Busayo Adesoro Ojowi and the wife. I appreciate all of you. Thanks so much.